Now that you know the language of revenue and you're starting to get more comfortable with some of that terminology, there's still some relationship building that needs to happen. So we're going to get really clear on how to get this right and turn over a new leaf. Because right now you're speaking two different languages, and I know you can feel it. They're thinking in terms of revenue and growth, and we need to go faster, do less with more. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, you're like, what about the people? What about our culture? It's already toxic. We need to slow down and get this right. And it maybe doesn't feel like you're able to even show this anger. It probably feels like you're just being bullied into letting certain things slide that you know are a problem. And here's how you're going to get that to stop. You're going to turn your people problems into revenue solutions. We touched on this a little bit in the last lesson, so make sure you have your revenue cheat sheet, how to speak fluent revenue. But you two, even though you're misunderstanding each other, you both want the same thing because solving people problems impacts the bottom line. Remember, employees are the revenue drivers, and so prioritizing them also is prioritizing revenue. And executives respect business language, so really start figuring out what terms that they're using and throwing around and that they care about so that you can earn their trust. And you can even begin to build credibility with your own metrics. This is why I created an ENPS template. So go to, in the survey section, when I'm explaining all the different survey formats, what's really exciting is you're going to have your own data. So you can insert yourself in the conversation in whatever executive meeting that you're in where they're talking about growth and we need to scale, we need to hire, we need to go, go, go. And you can say, yes, and ENPS is down. So we need to make sure the people are equipped for this scaling that you want to do because something's not quite right. So it really does start to become fun to drive engagement when you are armed with your own data. Executives don't care about hunches. They need to see that you are tracking something that is clear and data-driven so that when you insert yourself in the conversation, you're not just throwing out your qualitative gift of empathy, which is your superpower. They need to see that you've got your own data too. I think I already said this, but there's an ENPS template to get you started tracking things over time so that you can start to be armed with your own data. And if my slides would go. So, if you're going to be turning over a new leaf with this whole relationship, it can be kind of awkward. So what I've done is scripted a way for you to talk to them and begin the conversation that you want to be a closer ally and partner. So what you would say is something, make this yours, but I know your time is valuable and I'd appreciate a moment to align on how we can both drive performance and engagement. My focus is on ensuring our people strategy not only supports the business goals you're driving, but also creates the kind of employee experience that fuels productivity and long-term growth. When employees are engaged and supported, they deliver results, and I can help remove barriers so everyone can perform at their best and contribute to our bottom line. And what's really cool here is if you look at how I've highlighted this, do you see how you're speaking two different languages? Everything in green is the revenue terminology that they need to hear, but you're still speaking your people qualitative language in the purple. You can start to still be saying what you mean, but also mixing in key words that they'll hear so that you're putting into context that you're not just like some loosey-goosey HR leader who's just, oh, you're too nice and you care too much about the people. No, you're a business person and they need to take you seriously because the thing that is your main focus is the people, aka the revenue. So take this and use it if you want to, make a variation of it, but mix in certain words. You can use ChatGPT and say, this is what my executive cares about. How can I say this? Whatever you're trying to get them to buy into, or maybe you're just trying to say like, hey, I want to meet with you more regularly. So when it comes to building trust, here's a few other quick tips. You're always going to want to avoid over qualitative empathetic language. Like don't just say, oh, the people are really upset. What you should say is something more clear and direct, like ENPS took a dip and turnover is driving up costs. They want results language. Don't say, oh, everybody's so burned out. I'm sure that's true, but it's better for you to say, hey, investing in manager training will drive productivity. And that's good for business. You want to have a regular one-on-one with this exec. It's not good to just wait and wait for fire drills, wait for emergencies to get clear on what you're going to do about it. You want to meet with them regularly like a muscle to build that relationship and get aligned on what metrics matter to them and get really, really clear. You're almost like, you really just want to get as much inside their head as you can. And the more that they feel like they have a place that's safe, that they can kind of fall apart to, you'll be lucky if you can build that close of a relationship, because execs are tough. They put on a lot of emotional armor. But a regular one-on-one, they'll start to maybe see you as their emotional dumping ground, which is good. You don't have to solve all their problems, but you're going to start hearing the laundry list of things that are keeping them up at night so that you can start to align what you need to do in terms of what they said is upsetting them. You're going to want to ask key questions in these one-on-ones and do it privately, which is why I say it should be in a one-on-one. You don't want them to feel challenged, or you don't want to do this necessarily in an executive team meeting unless it really feels like the conversation has been opened and you have a really well-intentioned CEO. You don't want to make them feel like you're backing them into a corner. So when you're in your one-on-one, you could ask simply, which business metrics are you focused on this quarter? What's the biggest obstacle to hitting our revenue goals in your opinion? And what keeps you up at night about the business? These are great open-ended questions that are not yes or no answers that get them to just keep going. And this is a great time to be listening and just let them keep talking. As you're paying attention to them, you might be like writing down, or maybe you can record the meeting and tell them that you want to refer back to it. But you definitely want to make them feel safe to open up to you. But they're going to be telling you a lot, hypothetically. So be listening for key terms and be listening to the emotion that they're saying too. You're going to help them feel less stressed, less anxious. They're worried about the board. They're worried about the next quarter with revenue. They're worried about the sales team hitting their targets. They're worried about the new marketing executive and if they're going to build pipeline and things like that. And as you're building this relationship, just know that it takes time. Their rebuttals and their initial emotional armor are not a personal attack on you. The goal here, stay focused on the goal. It's collaboration and partnership and starting to feel like an ally to them to achieve what they want to achieve, which is success. They are very sensitive. I have spoken to just as many executives and worked directly with them over time to know for a fact, I can tell you, they're big softies on the inside and they're really like scared of failure. So initially they may not want to show you all their cards. They may be wondering what you're doing. And luckily, like I said, you have that qualitative gift of empathy. So just have grace and patience with them. And they're not judging you as a person. They're trying to keep themselves safe. They're used to very combative, high stakes situations. And over time, you're going to get them to see that with you, it's different and that you are a partner to them. You're not always going to agree, but you're going to keep them from making bad decisions so that they are successful, which is what they want. I have a book for you to check out if you want something to listen to in the car on Audible or something to have on your bookshelf, and a podcast episode where one of our members, Christy Williams, she's one of my best friends in real life, and she's in this community as a very experienced, very knowledgeable. She is the VP of Employee Success at a company called SoftDocs. And a while ago, she and I reviewed this book when I was working in HR software. I had another podcast, so I'm going to link out to that episode. And I highly suggest you check out this book because Fierce Conversations is written by this amazing woman named Susan Scott. And she has this concept that I love, that I can even apply to my personal life sometimes. She goes, sometimes you have to interrogate reality. You have to get someone to say out loud what they're saying is so ridiculous. And together you have to come to like, what is the actual problem? And this book, though, is similar to Radical Candor. That's another great book. But the whole concept is, let's get to the root of the issue and say what's being unsaid for the betterment of the business, for the betterment of our relationship as executives, or for the betterment of the future of the company. We have to tell the truth and get to the root of what is wrong so we can fix it. So check that out. I'll put that in the description below if you have time. You don't have to, but if you want to do some extra learning, I really loved that episode with Christy. Your biggest takeaway for this lesson is that CEOs value clear, results-oriented communication that emphasizes your alignment with their priorities. And my question to you is, who do you report to, and are you having a regular one-on-one with them to build that relationship? And if not, what are you going to say to them to get the ball rolling? Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson.